Welcome to Neo Arcade. My name is Echo and this is Ash, but let's cut right to the chase. What are we doing right here? Why are we doing this, Ash?
Echo, this is a culmination of months of hard work, man, but years of knowing each other. And I've always wanted to work with you, always had so much respect and admiration for you and your content, but we're finally doing it, and we're doing it here on Neo Arcade. So excited. Why? Is because, frankly, we both come from the mobile gaming space, right? I cover Raid. You cover Diablo Immortal and like a million other games, right? And they cost a pretty penny. And I love Raid. I love the community. I love the creators. I love my channel. I'm grateful and thankful for what I do. But there's kind of like that not so silent fact that we all go through as mobile gaming players for the last decade plus. And that's, we invest our money into these games and we can't get anything back ever unless we sell in the black market for like 1% the value, right?
Yeah. So give me an example. You say you play Raid Shadow Legends. I play Diablo Immortal as my primary game. Give me an example of maybe your personal experience inside of Raid, how much you spend and what that actually means, and why it's a concerning topic, really.
Yeah, we both started like a decade ago in Clash of Clans, right? Me a little bit earlier than you, but pretty much the same era, I would say. And I started spending money in the game. Like even before I started on YouTube, I was spending probably $100 a month, maybe a little bit more than that on the game, right? Kind of like my dirty little entertainment secret, right? Didn't broadcast it to my friends and family, but you know, $100 became $200, became $300. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh, looking forward to my next paycheck so I can spend a little bit more, upgrade my village in Clash of Clans. And now I have new ways of justifying my spending. Nowadays, I spend $1,000 a month on mobile games, but I'm like, oh, it's all because I have YouTube channels.
This is fine.
Part of a content strategy is part of this, but the fact remains the same. Whether you're a YouTuber, just a player of these games, so no matter who you are, no matter what you do, YouTuber, a player or whatever, you're putting your money into these games and you're never getting anything back from it other than your entertainment and enjoyment, but the developer is reaping all of those rewards. And, you know, for a long time, we've understood why. Like, oh, it's cost a lot to develop these games. But now we see there's another way. Yeah, I mean, is your experience similar to that?
Yeah, it totally is. Now, let's be real. Developers are there to make a product, to make money. They have to have their salaries paid. They have to have their profit from their job, their work, their product that they're putting out. But there's a point where it gets to be, from a player perspective, where you could really dive into that hole, kind of like you were talking about. So I play Diablo Immortal, maybe one of the most pay-to-win games of all time. I know accounts that have spent up to $200,000 in an account for a mobile game, and that's not even the thing. Like, that's cool. The strongest player in the game, pay to win, all of that. But what happens when Diablo Immortal is just gone? No longer. There's no way to get any value out of that back. If you put money into a mobile game, you don't get anything back except for the experience of playing the game, which you could argue it's worth the $1,000 you spend a month because it's entertainment value. Rather than going out and doing all these things, you're getting some enjoyment out of playing the game. So that's a cool thing as well. But I love the future and what we're here to talk about today on how this is actually changing through AI gaming, through decentralized gaming, through Web3 gaming, and all of that. Now, you did say a little bit of where we started regarding Clash of Clans. You were, I think you were actually one generation in front of me because I was getting into Clash. You were starting to make your way into Clash Royale at that point in time.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I want to hear more about your story. Like, who is Ash for someone that's never known you before, doesn't know about your YouTube channels? Give us a 2-minute breakdown of who you actually are and why this is relevant.
Asking me 2 minutes for anything is always a danger. It's always dangerous, man. I could spend 1 minute just on the preamble, but I'll do my best. And I want to hear about you after this, honestly, because I don't know. I know a little bit, but not a lot. You haven't been as vocal in the past about your story, you know, to your audience that I've seen at least. Anyway, I was a mailman for 13 years. Always had side hustles. I was doing eBay buying and selling, Craigslist buying and selling, and blogging and everything. I always wanted a little bit more. Nothing against post service. I loved it. I listened to audiobooks all day and I did my route and it was great. Finally, I hit something on YouTube. It was Clash of Clans. I was really into this mobile game. I'm into a lot of other stuff too, and I'm sure we'll dabble in all kinds of stuff. We're going to have a real, you know, hopefully informative format here, but also, you know, low-key casual. We're both kind of guys that talk a lot. We're both dads. We're both the same age and, you know, whatever. So we'll have fun here too. But anyway, That turned into Clash of Clans. I ended up getting 2014 is when I started my YouTube channel. And then over the first year, very slow growth. I grinded with 10 views per video, 100 views. And then finally it started kicking off in 2015. I transitioned to Clash Royale in 2016. I kind of blew up, so to speak, in that niche, at least from there. And then I did raid advertisements back in 2018 for Raid Shadow Legends. And I'm like, oh, this stupid meme game, whatever, I'll do it, you know? And then I actually got hooked on the game, and I saw the community was really cool too. And so here I am now. I think that's hopefully a little under 2 minutes, maybe over.
Yeah,
How
but
about
you're not done with your story though, because that's only what you do in the YouTube scene. You also own an agency, AMG. So that's a big part of what we're doing here as well. I mean, you're not just a YouTuber who plays games. You're like deeply embedded in the gaming industry.
You're the same way, man. And we'll talk about your story, obviously, but I love deep diving into anything I'm involved in, you know? I love understanding. I mean, I have a lot of things that I suck at in life, bro, but one of them is not curiosity. I always want to understand, peel back a layer and another layer and another layer, and understand how every industry works. Like Modern MBA is a random YouTube channel that I love because it's like, the economics of the sneaker industry or whatever. But like, I love understanding, okay, I see these ads. How did they come to be? What is the economy behind that? What's the creator economy, especially in an emerging space, especially since 2014 when I started AMG, co-founded in 2019. And even since then, it's been insane. So right now we have a team, Aftershock Media Group, of around 70-ish employees all around the world, and all the credit goes to them. At this point, I'm still super involved, still work there, still my day job. And I love the industry. I love learning. I love optimizing. I love integrating things like AI into influencer marketing and events and productions. And I can go on, but yes, so really involved in the creator marketing space. I find it challenging, and I love challenges. So I love thinking outside the box, not just ad reads for products for influencers who don't care. Right now, that's what I'm focused on. How do you solve for that? Because right now, authenticity is severely lacking, and we need to kind of bridge that gap in terms of the creator in influencer marketing. That's my spiel, man. We do a lot more than influencer marketing, though. We do productions, like I said, and we work with developers all around the world. I've been so lucky, not just for the clients, but also for our team. But what about you, man? Because you are actually more closely involved in the area that we're going here on the channel. So you have a long story, man. How can you condense it here in the 3-minute or less version?
I have a long story, but I go on a little bit less than you, so I could probably get it done in the same amount of time. Our stories are actually fairly similar, to be honest. I was a teacher, a phys ed and a health teacher. I was doing that for 15 years. And I loved Clash of Clans. I mean, I used to watch your videos, Galadon's videos back in the day in the phys ed office. A buddy of mine was like, why don't you start making your own videos, man? You play this game all the time. So I literally started putting out videos from screen capturing on my phone, super ghetto initial stuff. And over time, I got a passion for it, like you, having the side hustle. I actually did blogging and things like that before YouTube. Similarities there as well. I didn't know that. Yeah. I was continuing this grind, and I started to get noticed. You know, Supercell started to notice my content, and it got to a point where after about a year and a half, they invited me out to Supercell headquarters, and they wanted me to do some casting for their ESL esports stuff. And I was introduced to a completely new world that was a heck of a lot more awesome than being a teacher, although being a phys ed teacher is pretty good. So I started doing a lot more traveling and realizing that this is getting in the way of me being a teacher. You can't take off on a regular basis. So it got to the point where I needed to decide, am I gonna do YouTube and casting as a full-time thing and leave teaching, one of the most secure, like a postal job, one of the most secure jobs you could have, a government job. And I decided to leave teaching. That was 6 years ago.
I remember that decision. We talked a little bit about that back in the day. What year did you start your YouTube channel? Was it 2016?
2016,
okay.
I started YouTube. Yep, about 9 years ago now. So I was doing the whole YouTube thing full time. I decided, I'm very much like you. I can't just sit and do one thing. I always have to have something else. Like, you couldn't just be a successful YouTuber. You needed to go fund a company on top of that.
And it is ironic that we both have multiple channels and companies, and here we are starting a new project. You know, like the two guys who have no time, but we have a good team behind us here too. Before I get ahead of myself though, go on. So what led to, well, I'll let you tell it. Go on with your story, man.
Yeah, no problem. That's all good, man. I picked up a side job working as a broadcaster for crypto investors and for stock market traders, broadcasting them because of my experience as a content creator into private rooms, paid rooms, so people could learn to trade. I knew nothing about finance before that, but I worked there for 3 years, learned about finance, learned about crypto, started becoming talent on the shows as well as I became to understand it more because of my experience doing this. 3 years later, which was an amazing job, that company closed. It was called Money Morning Live. That company closed and I was looking for something else. And that's when I actually hit up a friend and I started working with you over at AMG, which was actually a huge part of this story. I'm talented at AMG, being one of your first talent you ever signed at the agency when it started. I've been there since close to day one. Always loved being talent there. But I wanted to understand, first of all, I was looking for a job, right? Let's be honest. Second, I wanted to understand what the other side of this whole world was. So I started working there. I was doing sales. I was working with talent. Then I started working with clients as well. And I really got a good understanding for how the whole agency model works and all the inner workings behind it. Sorry, I'm not working at AMG anymore. Great company and all of that. I loved it. And I still am talent there.
I do have one quick interjection.
Yeah.
And that is, does anything come to mind in terms of what was not the way that you thought it would be when you were on the inside of the marketing space? Because you were a YouTuber already, you were a content creator already, and we represented you as well. But was there any like revelations or, wow, I didn't think this was the case when you were on the opposite side?
I guess how much work goes into actually setting up campaigns, communications between clients, between talent, and how much back and forth there is to actually do one single deal or set up one large event or campaign. Or even how big the team is on the back end. You know, you got to, as you said, 70 people, pretty big squad. So there's just a lot of moving pieces to make everything work. And obviously everything is refined over time. It gets better and better, more efficient. You get some great people and you have a great company. But from there, I left you guys at AMG and I moved over to build my own agency model in the Web3 space, the gaming space of Web3. We founded the Green Room. It took a few months to build that, which quickly turned into an accelerator program because I would be talking to these game companies that wanted content creators or KOLs, and I would realize, you know, these aren't AAA title companies. These are smaller, more indie dev companies that they needed messaging, they needed marketing, they needed motion packages, they needed trailers, and they even need Web3 advisory. So we built out our entire team in combination with Not Corrupt Media and with Lizard Labs to build a full accelerator program, which is now all part of the Green Room, which I built. And now I'm living in this gaming fantasy world of crypto, gaming, Web3, AI, decentralized, and we're 7 months in, 8 months in as of right now. And it's just a completely different world. And because of both of our stories, which is actually a little extended, that's how we are here right now with Neo Arcade. And that's how the story begins, man.
Yeah, because we still would meet from time to time and just kind of catch up and whatnot. And I don't know I think it was me. And I was like, dude, we got to do something together, man, because I've been wanting to for so long. Like my general philosophy is if I see people who are movers and shakers, who are reliable, who I know have good character, you know, I want to work with them. And like, I'm always looking for opportunities to do so. I feel like that's great life advice for anybody out there. It's always done well for me, right? And so I was like, we got to do something together here. And then we thought for a long while, like, what can we do? Like, okay, it's great. We're not crypto experts, right? I mean, you're on the day-to-day involved and you see the landscape a lot better than I do. I've been into crypto since before the 2021 bull market, but more as an investor, frankly, right? So going through all that and, all the big YouTubers out there, but in the gaming world, it's a little intimidating. Like, okay, I haven't played a lot of crypto games, but I think that we have a really good game plan out the gate. But we're flexible guys too. Like we want to make content that you guys will all enjoy. So, a lot of ideation about where we're going to go. And one thing that we do have at our disposal though, is we know so many amazing people in the industry that can come on, be guests here, be experts in any area that we want to. And we know gaming, right? To that point, like, I'm assuming you've been a gamer all your life, man. And like, do you have like a favorite video game of all time? I have no idea if you do.
Yeah, man, it's Gears of War 1. Gears of War 1. I was a gamer as a kid. I stopped gaming, got into fitness and sports, never played a video game for years. And my roommate at the time, his name is Brian. he brought home this game called Gears of War, and I was literally blown away. I was like taken into another world. I went out that day, I bought a 360, I bought Gears of War, and I played it for years into the evenings, 2 a.m., playing in private lobbies with friends, multiplayer, which opened me up to other games that I love. I'm a big shooter guy. So like Modern Warfare 2, another one of my favorite shooters, and Halo 3. Those are probably my top 3 of all time. But I was actually not a gamer forever. I'm not the hugest like retro gamer guy. I started with Sega Genesis, which was awesome, but yeah, man. How about you? What's your go-to game?
I'm quite the opposite. I am the retro guy.
I know.
And I'm probably a bit behind on maybe anything more modern, except for my son. I live vicariously, right? Like anything that a 7-year-old would love, I dig, you know? But outside of that, I go back to, my first gaming system was in television, which probably 3 viewers know. And then I moved to good old 8-bit Nintendo, and I was an addict, both that. I played like Dragon Warrior, Final Fantasy. I like the early RPGs, Castlevania, those type of games. And then I kind of evolved to PC. I had like an Apple IIe and then like a Packard Bell back in the day. So I got into like early MMOs in the late 90s. I was huge into EverQuest. I basically lost years of my life to that game. And then I kind of swore off gaming. Similar to you, we both went through a phase, a bit of a gap there. And I was just like, EverQuest, like I dropped out of college. It was a big thing, right? I was playing that. My life revolved around that game for a couple years. And then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I had this moment of like, I quit the game, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, I need to grow up. And then I started Clash of Clans because I'm like, a mobile game, like this was brand new. Like Clash of Clans was the first real mobile game other than like Snake, that you could really get into, at least that I played. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, this is great, but it feels so benign. Like I'm not going to get hooked on a game on my phone, and then here I am today. Right. So
yeah,
it's been a wild ride, but yeah, I mean, there's a million games I love. Like I love the Age of Empires. I love RTS games. I love Kingdom Builders. I love, yeah, maybe a little bit less into FPS than you are, though. So we have good overlap, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely more of a strategy guy now, just because I'm getting older. And I sometimes like my game sessions to be more chill when I am sweating when I'm playing, FPS games or third-person shooters. But the question is, how does this all tie into Web3, decentralized AI? And really, let's talk about crypto and how crypto gaming is looked at specifically on people that are not into crypto in such a negative fashion. So I want to ask you, someone that doesn't work on a daily basis, you've done your investing, you've done your NFT stuff. What are your thoughts on crypto and how negatively it's looked at upon in the space?
Well, I am old enough, as are you, to know that people generally have a very, there's a certain level of friction between any new technology, any disrupting technology, and the general populace, right? I mean, I saw it firsthand with the internet, literally in the night, or email, something as simple as America Online or email. There was back then, people forget or they're just not old enough to know, but like there was the same stigmatism. Like, I'm not going to trust an email. Like, this is ridiculous and it's a fad and it's stupid and whatever. Like, and then there was online scams, all over the place. There were DDoS attacks every day, and everybody was a hacker in the early internet. And there was a lot of bad stuff going on, right? So I've seen that, right? And I really do equate some of that with, and then there's been other things that have, bubbled up throughout the years too, like social media and the pros and the cons and how it went from something very niche that kids maybe used to something that was mass adoption, So I've seen that time and time and time again. And then crypto as a currency, I think it was our guy, Miguel Buffaretti, way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
He was the guy that I first heard talking about it. But basically one of our, like most of us, one of my friends was like, you got to get into Bitcoin. I'm like, what's Bitcoin? This is early, I don't know, 2019 or something like that. And he was like farming it and everything from his apartment and stuff. And I'm like, this guy's crazy. But then I became a believer. And now I'm a beyond believer, right, in the space. And it almost feels taboo to say that, but just like AI too. You see, there's a few things that lead to the taboo, right? There's misinformation. There's a product that isn't high quality yet, right? Because the innovation hasn't caught up to, where the realized its potential, right? So I feel like this taboo comes from a number of different things, right? There's the scams, the lack of ethical actors in the space. All the ripoffs, the things that we saw on the internet, the things that we saw through all these emerging technology, and then just the escalation of the technology, right? It's like, oh, a crypto game, Axie Infinity. No offense to Axie Infinity at all. It was a game changer, but it was rudimentary graphics wise, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like people, they make a judgment a couple years ago, and they don't realize how fast the technology is moving. I've said a lot there. What was before you got involved, was that the same? Were you an early adopter, or did it take you a while to come around?
I was not an early adopter. I was a big believer when I started working in that finance broadcasting. I actually put a bunch of money into crypto at the wrong time, at the peak, and lost tons. Now you're still working your way back and doing all of that, but I think, first of all, crypto is looked negatively upon because for many reasons. One, misunderstanding or not understanding, like you said, the internet. People don't get it. Bitcoin, how is that work? What's the value there? And I mean, Bitcoin is like the very tip of the iceberg. You have all the other coins below, right? So one, people not knowing. Two, I mean, it was filled with scams. People making coins, getting high. I mean, Haktua coin is the most recent one, right? Make a coin, hype it up, and have everyone get on board, and then take all that money and run. Unfortunately, that happens. It still happens. You have to do your due diligence with whatever coins you're talking about, and you need to stay up to date. Even, we're talking, that's obviously a meme coin, but if you talk about some of the larger coins, believe in the project. What are they doing? Understand what that actual coin does, the technology behind it. There's also a bunch of just crap projects, ones that they're just not good. Like, maybe the idea is cool, but the funding's not there to make it good. Maybe the game, the concept is cool, but the mechanics are bad. And I'm not one to judge a game on graphics. I personally like high quality graphics for my personal play, but I think there are a lot of the games you mentioned as your favorites, the graphics were garbage, on those games, but the gameplay is what immersed you inside of the game.
And I still play them today, like with my son even, I force him and now he loves them. But to your point, there's a lot of different ways to enjoy a game.
By the way, I was playing Madden 93 with my sons last weekend, so I still do dive back.
There's a beauty sometimes in simplicity. That's why you see even the retro games succeeding on like Twitch. Like some of the top indie games are kind of a retro vibe to them,
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's a lot of people like yourself that still have a passion for that stuff. There's definitely not even that niche, but a large community of it. Another thing that I see with crypto is, they start talking about it too early, where the technology's not there. Specifically, if we're talking about like crypto gaming, sharing stuff when the project is 4 years out and you can't keep hype for something that long.
A lot of these early games that had the funding, like, it's like, who's playing these games now? Like years ago, that had the funding, and like we'll be talking about some of those success stories and some of the failures too on this channel, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of meat on the proverbial bone, Echo, in terms of there's so much that we can cover here, and there's so much we're excited about. We can also learn and be transparent on projects that we don't like or games that we don't like in a constructive way. Like that's kind of our goal, right? And to really sing the praises of the ones that we do.
Yeah, and I think that it's important that here, we're exposed to a lot of different things from what's going on in AI. Even straight up, what tokens do we believe in? Because we think there's some cool technology there that there could be some upside to. Not that anything is financial advice, of course, but if there's something that comes across our desk that we're interested in, that's something we could share here. Heavy focus on the gaming side of that and how that all ties in, because at the end of the day, we come from the gaming world where gaming presence is on the internet. So I think that's a really important thing that we stay true to. And bringing in friends that we have from the industry to have them talk their part as well, present it ourselves. I think that's all going to be a lot of value that we could bring here. But how do we believe, or how do you believe, that this whole AI, decentralized, Web3, crypto gaming, how do you see this being the future? Like 15 years ago, it was mobile gaming. You have Chief Pat come onto the scene. This guy just putting out videos on YouTube about it exploding because that was the new technology. I think that's where we are now with all of this decentralized and AI gaming. I think that now is 15 years ago for the mobile scene.
Yeah, man, I was looking at some projects that A16Z is investing in the gaming and AI space. And it was even talking to some of the guys who are on the cutting edge of the AI agents in games. And it's wild, think of an RPG, because it's my favorite genre. Think of having that RPG NPC experience, but every story is unique, it's not every character saying the same thing, and everything is dynamic based on your decision in that world. It almost adds a sense of reality that's hard to comprehend. That's just one of a billion examples of the way that AI is going to change gaming. And to your point here, our goal here is to become a dependable source for reliable news in the space. And then making bets, not just financial bets, not just because we're not, again, not financial advice, but what are we most excited about? Where is the tech? Where are the narratives and who's real inside those sectors? What teams do we believe in? And really, developing kind of a news program for you guys, as well as diving deeply into certain projects and surface level, but with credible knowledge from hopefully guys that you trust for a decade of experience out there, right? In all of these spaces. That's kind of our macro goal here. We are going to learn as we go. But I guess as I tend to do, man, didn't really answer the question there. But yeah, AI is going to be great. And even outside of AI, just crypto in general, it gives the number one thing that I hear, man, from raid players, as I did from Clash players, and Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, in every game, every gamer knows, every community gamer knows, people complain constantly because developers, their interests aren't aligned with the player base, right? They do want to make a good game. They want players to continue playing, of course. But the main goal is to keep them spending, right? Oftentimes what the players want aren't going to be the top priorities of developers. It can't happen in the way the traditional mobile gaming environment is set up. But I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about how we can change that, or how crypto can mitigate that pain point?
Yeah, I mean, that brings in the whole decentralized gaming element of everything, right? Rather than the huge company that's just making the decisions, which is always focused on the bottom line. Now, again, I don't want to take away. We'd be ignorant if we thought that games are being made just for enjoyment. They're being made for profit. Companies need to make money, and we get enjoyment from them out of the way. But their number one is keeping stockholders happy, keep people making money, and being a profitable business. And they definitely do care about the player experience. I'm not saying they don't, but it's not the number one, or else the whole financial element wouldn't be a thing. So being able to be a blockchain-based decentralized economy, it kind of puts a lot more on the shoulders of the community within the game as well, people that are part of and owning portions of what's going on as well in a different way than a stock person would. So decentralized inside of gaming, combined with AI tools that can be used to speed up the processes of gaming, make the gaming experiences better, are really what's exciting to me. And something that I see now, and I talk to clients about this all the time. You have Web 2 gamers, people like me playing Diablo Immortal, you playing Raid Shadow Legends. And if you go to someone that doesn't know the crypto world and they log into a game, and the first thing that they need to do to play that game is log into a MetaMask account so that they can then connect their wallet to play the game to earn rewards, that is going to push away 99% of Web 2 gamers because it's scary. They don't understand it. That's not their world. And I'm seeing this happen a lot now, where that's becoming less and less of a thing, to the point where it's going to be non-existent. You're going to have wallets created in the game just as part of the gameplay. It's not even, you don't even know what's happening. You go to Raid Shadow Legends to the shop because you want to buy something. You're actually buying it. You're going to be putting it in your satchel, but it's actually connected to a wallet. And as you upgrade that piece of gear, if you decide, oh, I don't want this anymore, instead of selling it for silver that has very little value, you could actually sell it for a currency that has value. And you could either pull that out and actually have cash in hand, or you can use it to buy other things inside of the game, etc., which is a lot of the deeper value that I think both you and I see. When I talk to people in Diablo Immortal and hear that they've spent $10,000, $50,000 up to that $200,000 point. Obviously, these are not normal people. These are people that that have a lot of excessive
millions,
cash to spend.
man,
Right?
millions.
Yeah,
And,
but
yeah.
it makes you believe. Like, think of all the gems, all the things inside of that game that they have that they could, if they could put it on a market where other people could benefit, where they could benefit, the value there is huge. So I think us coming from the games that we come from really gets us even a little bit more excited about the future of this.
You're absolutely right, man. Like literally, there are players that I've verified over $1 million spent in these games, you know, and nothing is, you know, you can maybe sell the account for $10,000 if you're lucky, you know, it's nothing's recouped. And even selling an account, like you buy the account will probably be banned, you know, like there's no actual legit way to recoup any of that. Even if you're some billionaire, you know, it's still valuable to have these as stored assets, these assets that you can resell, right? You mentioned I was into NFTs. You know, I also lost money in the last bull market, but I was able to recoup a lot of that value because I did sell some at the right time. You know, I you know, and as dumb as some of those projects that I was involved in was, at least I had a way to recoup a little bit, right? But investing in a game that you don't know it's going to be there in 2 years, who knows? And I love that you made the point because I wholeheartedly agree that we're going to get to the point in a matter of maybe a year. You know, we're already there with some of the games and trailers I'm seeing, very close. You're going to be playing crypto games and not even realize they're a crypto game. It's not going to be, the integration is going to be seamless, you know? And there's so many projects that are working hard with brilliant minds and a lot of money, frankly, behind them that I believe in. They're going to make that the case, right? So we're here because we were on the ground floor of mobile gaming, right? We saw that as the next step in the industry. And mobile gaming, love it or hate it, has emerged as a bigger financial player worldwide than PC and console combined. And that's insane. So we see crypto as the next big thing. And I think it's going to be even bigger than mobile, you know, and because it's going to be all encompassing, right? Yep. So we're here to work in the space that we find most interesting right now.
Yeah. And speaking of, really quickly before I wrap things up, mobile gaming, it went from playing games on your phone to now playing the game on PC like Warframe, and then picking it up on your phone, cross-playing with each other, which was just a matter of, we knew it was coming. It just took time. You said something, and I think it goes even beyond a year. You said in a year, you'll be playing games and you won't even know they're crypto games. That's going to be on mobile. That's going to be on PC, on browser. I think there's going to be a point in time where that's just how games are made. I don't think it's in a year, but I think all games are going to have that tie-in rather than the microtransactions that we see inside of mobile games now. This is just going to be a whole different ecosystem that's going to be decentralized, and that's going to involve this whole crypto space, and it's going to be understood. It's going to be accepted. Think about microtransactions. Those came out, man, pay to win, you get the hate train on that stuff. The same way as crypto, it's a new technology, and if you understand it, you could take profits from it and benefit. At the end of the day, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I think what I really love about Neo Arcade with you, Ash, is being able to come on and just talk about our experiences, where we're not sitting here and going through a script and talking about exactly things, but we could share our experiences, both from being gamers, from being fathers inside of this space, and really just who we are as people.
We want to be relatable, but not in a disingenuous way. We just want to be, we want to go through this journey, but we also, we have a team behind us here who we should shout out, right? We have researchers, we have editors, we have a full team that's going to help us as well, give you guys the best content, and hopefully a way that is kind of unique in the space. So I'm super, super excited, man, to be in this industry that I've been so passionate about, kind of low key, kind of a closeted crypto fan for years. I'm so excited to be doing this with you, man, because I've always also wanted to work with you. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this ride leads us.
I love seeing your excitement, man. I feel the same. The sentiment is there. And basically, content throughout the week. We're going to be bringing you guys a handful of pieces of content every single week. The best way to find out what's next is to subscribe to the channel. Drop in the comments too. If there's projects that you guys see that are coming that you want us to take a peek at, throw it in the comments. We'll throw the research team on it, and it'll come back to us to explore with you guys in an upcoming episode. Thanks for your time today, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.